it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's no problem. So, people are seeing you right now while I do a little fixing in the background.
Oh yeah, so it can make funny faces or
Yeah, so
something.
don't do anything weird.
You're talking to the wrong guy. Oh, that's Diane Kane thing. Yes, it was like some coffee shop gig. You know how those are.
Yeah.
We had a gig once at Whole Foods.
Actually, you can't talk during this
Oh, why not?
because because people are listening.
Oh, I see. So you have to tell me when I can go and get a vodka and orange juice.
Exactly.
I like the album I did with the harmonica guy, Tim Welvers.
Oh, well, let's definitely hear that.
It's some really nice stuff on that album.
Yeah.
We had actually Horace Silver came down and listened to us.
Hmm. Oh, that
We
warming up thing I think is really went really fast. Yeah, that warming up thing was too fast. It was like 25 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna. I'll do one of your. Here, I'll just do rhythmology in the background. Nice, Joe.
It was a long time ago.
It was.
Yeah, what, 95 maybe? Something like that.
It was posted only just a few years ago.
Yeah, that was my first step. I
Oh,
had Gene Stone playing drums,
yeah.
Willie Jones III, and Loika Hart.
Oh.
And they all showed up, and I didn't have any money to pay. But they were back then, they were just starting out too,
Right. Oh, actually, it was 97.
97. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is my friend, old friend, Joe Gaeta. God, I met Joe Gaeta like,
And it's Gaeta if you're Sicilian.
I'm sorry, Gaeta.
Gaeta.
I met Joe in 1975 or something.
Well, even before that, I think.
No, because I wasn't out here before then.
Oh, okay.
You know,
So,
I saw somewhere, you didn't go to Berkeley, right?
no, I didn't go. Well, I did go to Berkeley, but I didn't enroll. I used to sneak in classes.
Really?
I couldn't afford it, so I just would go and sit in, and they let me sit in. Not every day, but I'd
There's
sneak
that
in a
guy
couple.
again.
I couldn't afford. Back then Berkeley was expensive, and I was what
Yeah.
19 years old. I didn't have any money. I was lucky I got to Boston,
I know. I was going to say you're from New York, right?
Buffalo.
Uh-huh.
So it's a little trip from Buffalo to Boston, but we did it a lot. A bunch of us would go and sneak in.
Oh, really?
I did the same thing the first time I came to LA in '72. Me
Yeah.
and a friend of mine snuck on the Johnny Carson set at NBC.
That must have been hard.
Not then. There was no security back in the '70s.
Oh,
You just walk. If you looked like you knew what you were doing, you just walked in.
oh wow.
I sat behind the desk. Then somebody chased us out. What are you guys doing here? Oh, we're waiting for Charlie. Well, they can't wait here. Okay. My cousin, Joel DeBartolo, was in the Tonight Show band.
Your cousin was Joel DeBartolo? I don't
Yeah, my mother's side. He was my second cousin.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't know it at the time. My mother never told me who my cousins were. She just we had so many. We became a big family. So like Vinny's I didn't know Vinny until I came to LA, and we grew up 3 blocks away from each other in Buffalo. So, but Joel was, he was the Tonight Show bass player for years.
Yeah, he was a great bass player.
Oh yeah, yeah,
He was one of the best.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I only talked to him once, I think, when I was out here.
Yeah. Yeah, he moved a long time ago.
Yeah, I moved back east somewhere, I think
He
Indiana.
moved to I think it was New Mexico or one of those, one of those 2 cities in New Mexico that's so good. Um, I want to say Phoenix. That's not right.
No,
Uh, you know, um,
somewhere in
those 2 major cities. Taylor, man, you're writing a thesis here. So here's a guitar player, Taylor Hatch, but Frederica is here too. Hi, Frederica. Um, let's see. So Taylor is studying at U of N. U of N,
Okay, yeah.
and so he's smart. He's a guitar player. He has a lot of good questions. So are you ready for some guitar questions?
Yeah, sure, I guess. I don't know. Sure, why not?
First of all, he likes your playing. And
Oh, well, yeah.
your playing reminds me a lot of Jimmy Rainey.
Oh, yeah, I used to listen to him a lot. But yeah, I, I did a lot. I listened to Jim Hall, Howard Roberts, and Joe Pass a lot, and Wes, of course.
Yeah. That I always feel like that was thank you, UNT. I always screw up the name of the college, university. I always feel like Buffalo was kind of the home of that style, or a lot of people came out that were that style, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of people came out of Buffalo. Don Menza,
Yeah.
Larry Cavelli, Bobby Militello, who played with Brubeck for years. Even Junie Booth, he went to the same high school that I went to.
Oh,
He was a bass player with Miles
oh,
way back in the day.
I don't know his name.
Yeah, if you look it up, you'll find he was a really great player.
I do know that there was a famous teacher who taught most of the horn players.
Yeah, John Sadola.
Yeah.
He taught Don Menza, Larry Cavelli. He even taught he taught me. I took lessons from him
Yeah.
just so I could learn the way he, would would take harmonies and divide them up and find out, what's good substitutions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He was a saxophone player. Now we're talking back in the 30s when he was growing up. So he was actually a violin player.
Oh.
And he was one of the first people to actually play the saxophone way back in the day. So if you see old pictures of him with his saxophone, there's a violin and a stand next to him.
Oh, jeez.
But for some reason, I mean, everybody studied with him. He just knew.
I know.
He would transpose stuff by moving the middle C. So instead of it being in the third space, he would put middle C on the second line or the third line. And that would transit. So he's reading everything in C, no matter what key you're. It's a weird way to do it, but he
That
could
is weird. Yeah.
he would just move middle C down, like the alto clef moves.
Yeah.
You can change where middle C is,
Right.
and that's how he transposed stuff.
Wow.
Weird, yeah. Took me a long time to figure out exactly how he does that.
Yeah. Did you ever use that or?
I did for a while, but it's something you really have to study. You have to be, used to seeing. It's like transposing at sight, kind of thing.
But also, I feel like it would fuck you up somehow, like down the road playing with people or reading charts, or
Right. Yeah. It's a weird concept, but it seemed to work for some
huh,
reason. I don't know.
interesting.
But he also was, with technique on saxophone for some reason.
Yeah.
Menza, even Sammy Notice, great trumpet player, used to study with
Yeah.
him.
Okay, here's the first Taylor question. Ready?
All right.
Whenever you go about learning a tune, how much of your process is learning the melody versus knowing the changes first?
Oh, you got to know the melody first, because that tells you where you are in the tune, and the changes come second.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the changes are the same in every tune.
Yeah.
2/6, 2/5, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the melody helps you remember what the changes should be. I think, anyway. I mean,
Okay. All right. Next Taylor question. He has a few, and I feel like they're applicable today. So, as a composer, no matter how complex you write a tune, what helps you expand your ideas? Could be intervals, certain chords, a motif.
actually, what helps me is when I get someone else to play it with me,
Really?
and I get their opinion on what's going on.
Yeah.
So I'll write something, and then I'll bring it in, and have four guys play it, and then just let them interpret it. And if I like what they're doing, I'll change it. If they hear something I don't hear, it's good. So because I don't write with anything in mind. I just write melodies down, and then I think about what kind of harmonies they are, and then I let someone else. I give them the melody. Here, what chords would you play? That kind of thing. I've written a lot of tunes over the years,
I know.
and mostly it's because other people will play them. That's the secret. You got to get someone to play the song before you can really, When I played with Dan Bagasal, we had a horn band, so 2 horns with 3 rhythm, sometimes 4, and I would let them arrange the tune. I'd say, "Here's my song. What do you think we should do with it?" And they would, So a lot of input is good when you're writing.
That's
And, yeah.
that's funny. That's your thing, man. That's the Joe Gaeta thing. Okay. What on the other side of the planet, what was one anecdotal thing that a teacher told you that has stuck with you for a long time?
Well, Joe Pass told me, reduce everything down to a triad, basically. And then let your ear tell you what colors you need to put in the chord. So if you need a raised fifth or a sharp nine, the melody tells you what you can do. And then the easiest thing is to make it easy on yourself. Okay, I got a E minor 7 flat 5 chord that's going to resolve to something. So what is it? How many ideas or how many sounds can you get by changing that chord? Not changing the chord, but changing how you would approach the chord.
Yeah.
So E minor 7 flat 5, G minor 6, or B flat major 6, or it could be anything. And then the best part is when you don't know what you're doing and you go for something and it either sounds good or you go, oh, I'm not going to do that again. Because if you don't experiment, nothing happens.
Yeah.
You have to always put yourself, I mean, I got fired from a lot of bands because they didn't like what I was doing. But I did it anyway because I wanted to make sure, what I was doing was going to work eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. You've been playing guitar forever, but I don't know if I even knew that. Did you play violin first or?
No, I played double bass,
Oh, okay.
and I went to college. I got accepted at the University of New York, playing alto clarinet
Oh, yeah.
because nobody would take the chair, believe it or not. The guy said, "Play a scale." I went, "Blah." He said, "All right, you're in," because that was during the Vietnam War, and I needed to get in school.
Oh,
Otherwise, I was going to get drafted.
yeah. Yeah.
So, and I had to play clarinet in high school in the marching band because there wasn't a long enough guitar chord. I had a great high school teacher. He taught us everything: solfege, composition theory. Everybody had to be in the band, the orchestra, the chorus, and he would put on shows every week, and so you play with band
Uh-huh.
and you play with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great high school. He would go out and go to different high schools and look for people who could play and try to get them to transfer over to his school.
Oh, smart guy.
Yeah, we just had a huge memorial for him about
Oh,
10 years ago or something, and the place was packed. Everybody showed up,
oh, wow.
that knew him. He was a great teacher. He wasn't that great of a player, but he could teach. And he
Yeah.
was a great guy, because he worked I was playing weddings with him in high school,
Huh.
playing guitar. He would take me on and hire me for gigs. And I used to ask him, Sam, how do you get all these gigs? He said, I'm a nice guy. And he was. I got a music diploma from high school, which usually you don't get anything, you just graduate.
Yeah.
But mine said music because I studied theory and harmony composition with this guy.
Huh.
And he made me play different instruments. I even tried to play the cello once, but that was really hard.
Yeah. You could play the cello probably, I'm sure.
It's a strange instrument, the tunings.
So, did you went to college in New York
In
and then you
Buff-
came out here?
yeah, I studied classical guitar at the University of Buffalo.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the war ended, in 72, when everything changed, I came to LA.
Yeah. So you were pretty young.
I was 20,
Yeah.
21, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And then how did you like LA?
Um, I loved it at the time because I was coming from Snowville, Buffalo.
Yeah.
There's 2 seasons in Buffalo. It's the winter and the 4th of July. That's it. So I loved it. And my uncle lived out here in Van Nuys, through he got run out of town. Buffalo was a big Italian town when I grew up. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of mob guys, you know. If you didn't get along with them, you had to leave. But he moved to Van Nuys. And that's when I came out here, so I stayed with him. I had
Huh.
a place to stay.
Yeah.
But I immediately went to the musicians union, and because I was a member of the union in New York,
Uh-huh.
but they still made me pay to join the LA union. But at that time they had a work board, you know, it was the board with, and everybody would put up a card saying, I need a guitar.
I
And
remember that
you
even.
go to different rooms and audition for
Yeah.
different bands.
Yeah.
I did that. I was on the road for a year
Oh,
with different guys, different bands.
yeah.
I was on the road with this band called Ron Bartley and the Hollywood Brass. And it was a soul band,
Oh.
but he was a white guy with a limp. He played trombone. We used to call it Ron Fartley and the Hollywood Ass. We used to tour Army bases,
Oh.
you know, in Army and Air Force bases. He
Yeah.
had connection. He was actually a guy who wrote, what do you call those guys who copy charts for sessions? A copyist?
Copyist, yeah.
Yeah, you know, back then you had those sheets of your music was on that manila kind of paper and this big sheets.
Yeah.
Guys would write everything out by hand.
Yeah.
And that was his gig, and he was really good at it.
Yeah.
He was a terrible trombone player, you know. But he would put together these soul bands. He'd get, you know, we were doing Al Green and all that kind of, you know, stuff. It was a strange gig, but those were the gigs that were available. You know, just go to room 3 and audition. And I was funny because I think I was the only guy who knew more than 4 chords. You know, hey, you know a major 7 chord, you're in the band. You know? I did that. I did a lot of those gigs was with a singer called John Scott, I think. We did Holiday Inns and all that. We even did Disneyland, you know, San Francisco. We went all over, you know, and those were tough gigs, you know, 8 guys in a van.
Yeah.
Eating Colonel Sanders for a week. You know, hosting, you had to go to a hotel and sneak in. You know.
Okay, Taylor says, what, amongst other questions, but Rabbi John Lopez, Rabbi, I don't know you. Don't mind me. I just want to ask, but what do you guys think about Polyphia playing God?
What?
I have no idea.
I have no idea. What's playing God?
I have no idea about that. So, but anyway, Taylor wants to know what was the funniest gig you ever played?
The funniest gig I ever, funniest as far as, I mean, the audience or or what happened on the gig?
No, other people ask that too, Taylor. Yeah, just whatever you considered funny.
Well, you remember the movie, what was it called? About the guys, the rock band Spinal Tap. Remember that movie, Spinal Tap?
Of course.
Well, when I was doing this gig with Sally Kellerman,
yeah.
And our last gig was in the Crystal Ballroom at the top of the Empire State Building.
Wow.
And me and the bass player got on the wrong elevator. We didn't know where we were. And we were walking up and down hallways for about a half hour trying to figure out, where are we supposed to be? Where's the Crystal Ball?
Like
we had like 40 elevators, and you know.
Oh my God.
And we were lost, basically, totally lost. And I didn't even think we were going to make it to the gig. And we're carrying all of our equipment too.
That's definitely a nightmare.
Oh
my
yeah,
God.
because they wouldn't let us in the front door. We had to, you know, you had to go through the kitchen service entrance, all this, you know, down these funny halls with the dressing rooms and everything. And we're, you know, we walked down a hall, it was a dead end, you know.
Oh my
So
God.
like, all right. That was a strange gig, the Sally Kellerman thing.
It was?
Because, yeah, well, she, her manager was a guy named Rudy Antabelli.
Uh-huh.
And he rented his house to Roland Polanski, where
Okay.
Sharon Tate got killed.
Oh,
And we rehearsed up there for 3 weeks in that house. It was a very strange feeling being up there
oh,
because she was getting ready to go on the road. She was with Blue Note at the time. And we were going to do all the Playboy clubs around the country.
wow.
And our first gig was the one on Sunset in Hollywood. But we rehearsed up in that house. 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks. She had a big show. It was weird. That was the weirdest thing I ever did.
She's pretty cool.
Besides that, I also got a postcard from Charlie Manson.
Nice.
I worked at the post office for 30 years.
Oh, right.
So some lady he was corresponding with lived on my route. And the postcard came, from the prison. And I'm looking at it, going, hey, this is Charlie Manson. I should have kept it, but I delivered it.
See, I thought he had written to you when you said
No. I was the mailman.
Yeah. Well, that was like Gary was the mailman for Robert Blake.
Oh, yeah. 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 That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Sally Kellerman, I met her over at the LA Athletics Club, and she started coming and singing there. And I'd been to her house a little bit, and she was actually very hip. I don't know what she was like when she was younger, but she was
Yeah. She was, she was signed to Blue Note at the time.
yeah,
And but she wasn't really a jazz singer.
right.
More of like a country or commercial kind of singing.
Yeah.
But she sang all the, her music was great. She had good conduct. I can't remember the guy's name, but it was a lot of Duke Ellington and Cole Porter tunes, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
she had a really deep voice.
Yeah.
I remember, kind of deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was easy to work with, basically. She was a little picky at things, but she brought everybody on the gig. Not only she had the road manager, she had her own manager, she had a dance guy who choreographed, and then she had 3 singers behind her.
Wow.
And then a 4-piece band. And we'd all end up at the airport going, what plane are we on?
And did you play a lot of did you go around to the Playboy clubs all over?
Yeah, we did them all. We went all over the country. We spent 8 weeks doing them. And then when we came back, I did the Doug Henning Magic Show, which was a weird gig too, with Dorothy, the pavilion there. But I didn't get along with some of the contractors, so they rehired me.
Oh, well. That definitely.
Sometimes you say stuff, that you shouldn't say in public.
Right. Okay, here's another Taylor one. These are good, like geared from a guitar player too. Did you ever spend a lot of time practicing counterpoint, and how would you go about using it to expand your chordal vocabulary?
Well, I like counterpoint, and I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it, but a lot of times it'll come up while I'm playing, and I'll hear something and I'll say, this is a good place,
Yeah.
in a melody or something to put counterpoint, in there. But it's not something I really dwelled on. I knew I liked what it did. And if I found a place where it worked really good, I'd use it. But I do that in chords when I'm playing changes. I'll do like a chromatic half step thing going down, holding the chord and moving the bass line down or something like that.
Yeah.
But it just depends on the song, basically, or who you play with.
Well, speaking of the song, I always like when he asks this question, which is which standards do you always go back to for inspiration?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
It is. I'm not really sure. I go back for inspiration. I pick an artist that I like, and then I love some of, like I like a lot of Bill Evans stuff.
Yeah.
So I play a lot of his songs, that he's done with over the years.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. What was the question again?
The question was, which standards do you go back to for inspiration?
Oh, well, inspiration as far as what, writing or just soloing or
Probably, I'm guessing soloing and
soloing?
developing.
Well, I like to go back to the standards that have a lot of movement in the harmony, key changes, and things, not just 3-4 chords, but all the things you are and old folks and songs like that where things move around a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like a lot of the Cole Porter stuff because there's a lot of key changes and I love Horace Silver stuff. His stuff is play a lot of his tunes.
Yeah.
And Wes Montgomery too. He wrote some great stuff. That he had a band with his brothers.
Yeah.
Called the Groove Brothers, and they were tight, and they could play, and they played great interpretations of different songs, not just the melody, but arrangements and ensemble playing and stuff. Really nice stuff. Get a lot of inspiration from that.
That would be kind of nice to listen to. Let me see if I can find that. It's called the Groove Brothers.
The Groove Brothers, yeah. He had both Buddy and Monk were his brothers, so there were 3 of them. Buddy was the first guy.
Apparently, there's more than them. These are the Groove Brothers, but those are not the guys.
No.
So,
maybe you should try Wes Montgomery. Just Google Wes Montgomery. There you go.
Here we go.
So that album there, you know what tune you want to listen to?
Yeah, what?
It's called June and January. I think it's on maybe the first one of the.
Do you know what? I made $7,000 singing.
There it is, right there.
Where?
On this Wes Montgomery. What does it say? Brothers.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
I made $7,000 singing that in a commercial.
Well, tell me what you think of this. This arrangement is just killer. It's one of the most incredible arrangements. I just love it. I mean, the way they do it. And Wes Burns on those.
Wow, it's great.
Vernon, it's a great arrangement.
Woo!
Burn. Wes was Wes was a great player. You know, he had what they call the hitchhiker's thumb. His thumb was, instead of being straight, it bent up like that.
Oh,
It
his thumb
was
curved.
like triple jointed or something. You'll see, yeah. Instead of if you look at your thumb, it's kind of straight,
Yeah.
but his had a big, huge curve in it. The other cats like that too. I've seen them before.
Wasn't he? Was he missing other fingers or no?
No, no, that was Django.
Oh.
No, Wes. But it's funny if you watch his playing. He only played with three fingers.
Oh.
He used his little finger only for octaves and stuff and chords. But when he played single notes, it was just his first two fingers. His thumb.
And so his brothers.
But that's Monk on piano,
Okay.
and his brother Buddy on bass. And I'm not sure. I can't remember who the drummer was. Probably can't remember offhand. Buddy was the first guy to record electric bass on a jazz song.
Oh. Wow.
Way back in the 50s, I think, when it first came out. There's even an album where Wes plays a 6-string bass guitar. It's not like a bass with 6 strings. It's more like a guitar with bass strings.
Yeah. Oh.
He even plays chords on it. They're kind of mellow, kind of muddy, but you know. Yeah, these guys were burning back then. But everyone was back then. It was Train and Miles and Roland Kirk, and everybody was out there doing stuff. They never got the recognition, I think.
Yeah.
And they put out, I think, 3 or 4 albums together.
His brother, the brothers.
Yeah, they had different. They called themselves different stuff.
They did.
Yeah, well, they were the Groove Brothers, and then they were something else for a while. I can't remember what the other name was. I got all their albums. So.
Well, these guys, they're no schlunks at all. So did they play with other? They must.
Oh
have
yeah. Oh,
with other people,
oh
right?
yeah, they did. They played with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were no. These guys were burning. And then they do really the arrangements are great. It's beautiful stuff.
Yeah, they're really great.
It's really great stuff. It's amazing. June and January, you hear that song. They come up with that. I mean, how far? How creative can you get?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. Really nice arrangement.
Yeah, their stuff is like that.
Yeah.
Nice arrangements. And funny thing though, they changed the keys a lot. If you like you look in the fake book or the real book, and like everything he changed key. Everything he did was in a different key than it originally was written. I don't know exactly why he did that. Maybe it was just more comfortable.
But you know what? I know this as a singer. The songs, how they ended up was not necessarily how they were written. It was just because the notes fit within the on the staff around the
Yeah.
and same like they a lot of times, especially for the singing tunes, they would write it very simply so that the melody was very obvious. But all that's why all the vocal type of tunes are in tenor and soprano keys.
Right. Yeah.
People didn't write always like in those keys, right?
I know.
So
It's
that's
weird.
kind of
Yeah.
cool that he did that because he was kind of feeling out where it actually sounded
Right. Right.
better. That's
Right. He would change. Yeah. He changed keys. I think he did. Here's that rainy day in E.
oh
Which instead of G, which is the written key, the supposed. Same thing with Beso Me Mucho. He played that in B flat minor.
huh.
Um, some tunes he did in the keys, but a lot of guys changed. Like there's a tune called Groove Yard, which is what they did. They played that tune. And that tune is written in E flat minor. But when Joe Pass recorded it, he did it in D minor. So I think it's just how comfortable you want to be
Yeah,
with the key that you're in. I guess
yeah.
because personally I hate the key of E. It's not my favorite key,
Which
but
which is weird because usually that's a guitar.
yeah, because it's the open finger in the
Yeah,
guitar, which I never use,
yeah.
and so I never when they well, we're in E and I go, oh, I'd rather be in D flat or A flat or G flat. You get comfortable in different keys, I guess.
Yeah. Did you say G flat?
Yeah, yeah, it's funky. I mean, Janine is written A flat minor,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of cats, and people seem to do it in that key.
Yeah.
Mostly on the gig, you don't someone called Janine and do it in A minor. So, and it moves around, so it changes keys like 3 times or something.
Yeah.
So,
What's your favorite 3 chords? Taylor wants to know.
my favorite 3 chords. Um, I like voicing my chords so that there's close intervals. So I like, I like the major 7 with the flatted 5th, that kind of thing. The +9 is nice, but um, if depending on how you voice the chord, it could be the same chord but could sound different.
Yeah.
So I try to voice chords where there's a lot of harmonies that are close to each other, half step apart or a whole step apart or something.
Yeah.
Something that's not just a major third. And
Now,
I never use the full chord anyway. I just use the colors.
Scott Hustos, do you know Scott? He's a guitar.
No, I don't. Do I know? No.
He's a nice player. He said Wes couldn't read music.
That's true. Wes didn't read. He just had a great ear, and he had brothers to tell him what to do too. Don't forget.
That's pretty amazing, actually.
You're self-taught. Wes was, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him just before he died in 1965. He came to Buffalo.
Oh,
I think I was still in high school, or no, I was in college at the time, and I got to see him play. Unfortunately, at that time, he was doing all the commercial stuff, Windy, and the Beatles songs and stuff like that, which I was used to him playing that stuff. The others, So when I saw him, I went, well, I love Wes, but play something real,
play some real jazz.
Yeah, instead of summertime. Anyway, but I did get to see him once.
Yeah, that
Which
must
was
have been exciting.
it was. Yeah. It
The
was a
first,
big concert though. He was in the concert hall.
oh,
It was like 600-700 people there.
the first group I ever saw on my own. My dad was a sax player, so
Oh,
I,
cool.
that's how I grew up listening to jazz. But the first group, for some reason, I went with my sister, who was 4 years older than me. So I must have been too young to go myself. But it was the Modern Jazz Quartet, and it was at
Oh, man.
Paul's Mall, and which was a very small club. And we were sitting in the front row, and I was absolutely blown away. They were so incredible. The music was so gorgeous, and they were so like beautiful. You know, they were dressed beautifully,
Yeah, yeah,
and just their whole persona. It was really just wow. It was great. I mean, you know, when you see stuff like that, like George Shearing, I remember seeing a concert or two of his that was
yeah.
just like same way, just gorgeous quality, brings you right into the state of mind of that jazz can bring you in, right? Right away.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I saw Buffalo had three when I was growing up, there were three, maybe four jazz clubs in Buffalo. So everybody, they were part of the circuit.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, Cleveland, Buffalo, Chicago, New York. They would, so I got to see, I met Pat Martino when I was like 19 years old. He was playing, and he was playing in one club, George Benson was across the street in the other one.
Oh.
And at the time, I wasn't even old enough to get in these clubs in Buffalo. I think back then you had to be 21, I think, back in the 60s. But every jazz club had a cloakroom, because Buffalo was, you go in and you take off your boots and your jacket, and you would hang it up, and then you'd go into the club. So all the underage people, they'd let us sit in the cloakroom
Oh.
and watch the band, and they'd bring Cokes. Here's a Coke, because we weren't causing any trouble.
Yeah.
I got to see a lot of people. Sonny Stitt, I saw Sonny Rollins, I saw Monk. I mean, it was just the town was burning with people playing, coming in all the time. And they had the Buffalo Philharmonic too. So there was a lot of that. At that time, Michael Tilson Thomas was the conductor.
Oh,
So he was bringing in a lot of stars, to the city.
yeah.
There was a lot of music going on back then.
Yeah.
We're still in Buffalo, actually, because, they're isolated. They're stuck there. They got to do something. They even had the Black Musicians Union when I was growing up.
Wow.
That was kind of weird too, but that was all the great music that's believe it or not.
Huh.
They had their own building and everything. They were still part of the same union, but they were separate. They had their own union hall and all that, which I thought was kind of strange.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was just trying to think if I mean, I don't know because I was too young. But in Boston, I don't know that if they did or they didn't. Um, I really don't know. I don't remember. My dad was really involved with the union and he had big bands and stuff. But I don't remember. I don't really remember meeting a lot of black musicians until I was like, in my late teens and I was going into Boston to see different groups and blues was really heavy at that time.
Right. Yeah.
And and then yeah, so I remember I had some black friends in the neighborhood that I grew up in, but just there was one family. And and the boy who was a little older than me he used to really kind of in a nice way but strong get in my face about kind of waking up to what was going on, and I just remember the feeling of being so naive. I was just so naive. I was just this little white girl growing up in Newton, with my dad who was
Mhm.
I mean, at least my dad was a musician and was into jazz.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that was a little different. So that was cool. But I just, yeah, it's, but to me, it never entered my mind that there was any difference. It never entered my mind. I was so,
Yeah.
like I said, naive. I had no idea. I was just,
Yeah.
open to everything,
Yeah. Well, Buffalo was pretty segregated
it was.
city. Every sect there was and the north side of Buffalo was a big Jewish community, and on the south side was the immigrants like from different countries. I don't know. The west side was Italian, and the east side was the black neighborhood. So it was really, But when it came to music, everybody just went to the same places. Black, it wasn't like there was a problem with that,
Yeah.
and as far as the music was concerned. But every club you went to, when we went to clubs in Rochester or in Cleveland, we had to be careful where we went, because it was a racist neighborhood with black, then you had to watch out. I remember we went once I used to go to Slugs in New York. That's where Lee Morgan got killed.
Oh,
And I actually saw Lee there one year. As a matter of fact, the
wow.
first time I went to there, I was with a friend of mine, the drummer, Mr. Panzika, and we got in a cab to go to Slugs. And the guy who was driving the cab was Les McCann. This
Oh
was
my
1963, I think, or 64 or something like that. And
God.
and I get in the car, and we both looked at this guy. Wait a minute. And then his nameplate on the cab was Les McCann. He said, "Oh, I just love doing this." He goes. He drove us to the club.
Oh man, that's
It was a
hysterical.
weird trip. I said, "Why are you driving cab? You don't need the money." And he said, "No, I just like doing it." And
Wow,
that Slugs was a really strange place.
it was.
Yeah, yeah. We almost got mugged there once, so that was, you know, a close encounter.
Oh, wow.
But we went to all the clubs. The Blue Note, I saw. I went to see Elvin Jones play at one of the basement clubs. What was it? I can't figure it out. But he had a broken arm. He had a cast on his arm, and he was playing like nothing mattered. And his band was so weird. He had two saxophone players and two bass players. That was the band. And it was like I was there all afternoon. These guys are insane. And he had a cast on his arm, and he was. I think it was at Sweet Basil's or something. I can't remember.
Well, actually, I saw Jim Hall at what's that place in Santa Monica that it's a music store that has concerts there too?
Oh, McCabe's.
Yeah, McCabe's. So
Yeah,
I saw Jim Hall there with the drummer, Terry Clark or something,
yeah, Terry.
right? He had a broken arm in a cast.
And he was playing, right?
He was playing, yeah.
I
And
thought,
the Canadian bass player who was friends and cohorts with them. That was when I went home and wrote my song, Jim Hall.
oh, really? Yeah, I
Yeah.
get inspired, huh?
It was so good, I was like, oh my God.
I know he's great. I saw him at the couple times at concerts, the Jazz Bakery.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I liked his playing. He was cool.
Yeah,
We used
there's
to call him the Bill Evans of guitar.
absolutely. One
Yeah,
time I did a takedown of him and Bill Evans. They have like one or two records together. And
yeah,
eh, it was so interesting for me because it was Darn That Dream, and it's one thing for me to listen to it and to hear what they're playing. It's another thing to write it down. And I
yeah,
was just so blown away at how their thought processes were. It's like, wow, I, in a million years, I would never think of that, even no matter how schooled I was. And
yeah, yeah.
wow, just gorgeous. And there's
Yeah,
so many degrees of listening too. Um,
yeah. Well, it comes with experience. The more you listen, the more you hear different stuff, the more you start to pick out things that you really like. I guess.
yeah,
I mean, if I had the tools that they have now, back in the '60s, with YouTube and all the videos
yeah,
and all the devices, you know, I mean, they got this program where you can slow down the music without changing the key. When I grew up, it was the needle on the record 4,000 times,
I know.
back and forth. Slow down the tape, put your finger on the thing. It was like really an hours.
I
But it was good
know.
ear training. But it was still,
I know. It was great. Yeah, it was.
but it
I
was a
know
lot of work.
what
You
you mean,
spend
though.
hours trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah, the amazing slowdowner, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is amazing.
it
Yeah.
is.
I mean, you still have to listen to it over and over, but still, it's like slowing it down. Wow. It's a whole other.
Yeah, yeah,
I remember writing out stuff like, Red Top, the whole solo,
right.
and realizing that I wasn't really writing the correct timing, but it didn't actually matter because just hearing and writing it, and writing the notes and thinking about it, then I knew it.
Right. Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
have to start
You have
somewhere.
to interpret things your own way.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's the right way.
I want to get more into that. I really do. I've been thinking of slowing down a little on my promotion, delegating my promotion so I can do more, just more artsy things, stuff like that. I want to do that. I want to do that a lot. I'm getting older.
Oh, you are now. I
So
got
I
one.
have to tell people this funny story about Joe and I. So Joe and I had one of our early engagements was this group of people that were very hippie-ish, eclectic, and we we used to get together once a week, I think, in Echo Park or somewhere, and everybody, like, one of the things was you had to play something that you didn't play.
Right.
And we had so much fun. Oh my God, that was
Ecstasy. Remember that?
ecstasy.
I sent you that tape, didn't I? I think
You
I did.
did. I don't know where it went again. That was actually a good tune, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. Davy Dalston and Ricky Luther. And, I don't know. We were in that little studio up in Harvey's place.
Gosh, that was just
Yeah,
so long ago.
that was a long time
So
ago.
much fun, yeah.
Yeah.
And then didn't we did you play that gig with me in Ocean Park in the gay club?
Remember.
I don't know. I don't know.
My CRS is just killing me these days. Can't remember shit.
Yeah, I can't remember shit.
Yeah. It's the same.
So, hey, there's a documentary this year on Wes for his 100th birthday.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that footage is on YouTube. Most of that was done in Europe, believe it or not. Because over here they didn't. He went to Europe and they would put him on TV, and he had some nice time over there.
Of course.
Yeah. I did tour. I toured around Paris a couple times,
You
and
did?
I just loved it. What we were doing. People were really nice. You know, it was a one. Well, I remember one time I was standing on the train, waiting for the train in Paris, and right across from me, going the other way, was the Dave Brubeck thing. And I waved, "Hey, Dave." He didn't
No. That's cool.
know.
That's really cool. God, it's been so long that I would really create a tour, something, like a real tour.
Yeah, yeah.
Been so long. Um, I don't know if I'll ever do it again, but
It's hard traveling these days.
it's really hard. But one of my friends actually had a good suggestion from a PR person, which was instead of making the next record, pay for a tour. Create a tour, and just pay for it like you're paying for a record. And
Yeah, well,
I
that's
don't
an
like
idea.
that idea. It's kind of
You
a
just
cool
have to get somebody to pay for you.
well, that. Um, Taylor is gone because he had to go to class, but he had a really cool question. It's interesting being a guitarist now in an era where the expansion of jazz guitar now has many forms of a contemporary sound.
Right.
Something cool to gain from listening to cats like Adam Rogers, Pasquale Grasso, and Peter Bernstein, where you can hear a lot of collective ideas the way they play tunes. Do you listen to any of the younger guys now?
Well, I do listen. I don't know their names, that's the
Yeah,
truth. But I do listen to when I find something that's interesting, I'll listen to it.
yeah,
I like Schofield. I like the stuff that he does.
too, yeah,
He's not a real jazzer. I mean, he can be.
yeah,
Did some stuff with Roy Haynes and stuff that was really nice. But his
yeah,
playing is very, he's got a really large vocabulary.
yeah,
I like I listen to people like that. If I hear somebody, and if I like it, I'll listen to them.
yeah.
But I don't remember. I'm not really up on names for
You
the young
must like
players.
Anthony Wilson.
Yes, I do like Anthony
'Cause
Wilson.
he has a real mixture, he's like he's kind of tying all the ages together, and he's
Yeah,
bluesy and
but
he's
you know,
jazzy.
I like Anthony Wilson. He's a great player.
Yeah.
Oh, the thing I have is my father was a house painter.
Well, I'm sure you bring that into your playing.
His father, had opened doors for him.
Yeah.
My father said, "Paint that door." Some people, you get lucky, I guess. You come grow up in a family like that.
Yeah.
And it
Well,
helps.
look at people like, are you hip to that young singer Samara Joy?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She came up
She's,
totally in a huge line you know, of singing and singing people and everything. And you can hear, I mean, she's like an old soul. She's 23 or
I
something.
know it's weird, isn't it? Well, look at Emily Reamer.
Yeah,
She was like an old soul way back then.
she was.
Yeah, yeah. Anthony Wilson. Funny story. I was playing with Dave Pike at the time,
Yeah.
and we were gigging around town. But he was doing an album, and he ended up using Anthony Wilson.
Yeah.
And I wondered. I never asked him why. But I think it was politics as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But Dave was a great player. Oh man, I learned so much playing with him.
Yeah.
I got his whole concept. He wrote it all out for me. How he substitutes chords and what scales go with substitutions. For just every chord you can think of. Because he was so creative. He would just play stuff that you would not. It was ridiculous. He was a great player,
Huh.
and he was a painter too, in the sculpture.
Dave Pike?
Yeah, he painted and he sculpted.
Who is the great guitar player who was a sign painter?
Same.
You know, he was from back east. Um, he has an unusual name, and it was around the Jim Hall days. Um,
Back then there was what? Tel Farlow, Barney Kessel,
Al Farlow? What? No, no, was it
Jimmy
no?
Smith.
Um, gosh, was it Tal Farlow? I don't think it was Tal. Was
Seinfeld.
Tal Farlow the guy who was a blues guy too, or was he the jazz?
I think he was more of a jazz guy.
It might have been. I'm gonna look. Tal Farlow. It might have
He
been.
was he was one of my inspirations. He had great technique.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was Tal Farlow. That was. I think he was a sign painter. Yeah. Yep. He was.
Really, a sign painter.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna like listen to a Dave Pike thing, just for fun. Um, and what do you think a record or just to kind of show what you were talking about, something?
Yeah,
Well, it's
he did a thing with Bill Evans. He had an album with Bill Evans too.
really Dave
Yeah,
Pike.
and Bill Evans.
See if
Yeah,
I can find that.
it's a nice album. And Dave was great. He would sing everything he played.
Oh,
So people, when he was in the studio, they had to figure out how to keep his voice from. I remember one time I was in the studio and the bass player I was working with uh, would sing everything he played. So the
yeah.
technician made him put tape over his mouth, and he
That's
made him play
terrible. Oh my God.
with
Well,
the duct tape.
here's a video. It's not with Bill Evans, but we can watch a little of this.
Oh yeah, Dave is good.
Oh, it is with Bill Evans too, actually.
Yeah, Dave got his. He was with Coming Home Baby Murder.
Oh,
He was in that band when we became famous. He was big in Europe too. They lived in Europe.
huh.
You hear him singing back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a trio, Richard Simon and Dave Pike, and we played a
Oh,
bunch.
really?
Yeah. No, vibes, it's a drummer with notes.
Yeah.
One of they can go brrr. Creative. His mind is just everything. It's creative.
And it says, yeah, here it says that this was the first session after Scott LaFaro died that Bill Evans did.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a beautiful cat too. With really great sense of humor and
Uh,
warm guy. Right? He's nice. He took me under his wing, showed me a lot of stuff.
that's so cool. This is really nice Bill Evans playing too, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's a great album. I love it. Yeah, he was another guy that was in Buffalo a lot. Was Scott LaFaro.
Yeah.
He was up in Western New York when I was growing up,
Uh-huh.
and he played around town a lot with different guys.
Oh.
I was too young then at the time.
Uh-huh. Was Tal Farlow from that area too?
I'm not sure. No, I don't think so. You know,
Uh-huh.
it was though. Tommy Tedesco was from Niagara Falls, and I love that guy. He was great. I used to go to Chadney's with him. And we'd sit at the bar and he'd say, "Yeah, this guy sucks. I love this guy." He was a cool
He
guy.
was a cool guy.
I
Very,
love Tommy.
yeah,
Yeah.
wore his heart on his sleeve. Yeah.
Remember that album, that song he put out? I used to be number one
Yeah.
because he kept losing all the studio gigs to Larry Carlton and those
Or,
guys.
yeah, or Lee Ritenour or
Or
something.
Lee Ritenour, right? So I used to be because he was part of that whole thing, the Wrecking Crew and all that stuff.
Yeah. He told a story. I think it was after he had like a stroke and they had, you must have been there. They had a thing at GIT for
Oh
him.
yeah, GIT, I remember that. Yeah.
And he told the story about so Lee Ritenour came in, on this session, and it was a really hard part. And so before Lee played, he said to he was talking some shit to Lee, about Oh, can you play that fast? You know, that's a really fast line. You know, he was trying to basically fucking with his head. And sure
Right.
enough, Lee was kept fucking up when he started playing, which he could play it, no problem, you know. And then he also told a story about he was in the studio, you know, with a bunch of people, and I think he might have been playing mandolin, but so the producer was in the booth. And you know, of course, he leaned forward and he said, "You know, I don't really. I think you should use a different instrument, or you know, something like that." And so, so Tommy said, "Yeah, yeah, I think so too." So he reached down to his case, right, which was open, and he did nothing. And he picked it up and he said, "Yeah, how about this one?" And he played, and the producer said, "Yeah." So that
Exactly.
was
Right.
his commentary on producers, you know. But he
Uh,
actually
he,
he was responsible for getting higher wages for studio musicians too.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He was an advocate for that.
Yeah,
He was. I just loved the guy. He was funny. He
yeah,
played great. You know.
yeah.
And he was down to earth. You know. Hey, how you doing?
Very,
You know.
yeah, very down to earth.
Yeah. You know, it was like that too. Was Horace Silver when I met him a few times. How you been? It's nice to see, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, he was real. Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe Diorio,
Joe Diorio.
you know, genius guy, but way down to earth.
Yeah, yeah. Some guys get an attitude.
Yeah, man, what? I can't believe they have an attitude.
Yeah. I remember this one gig I was on. Guy, I said, "Man, it's been a long time since we played together." And I said, "When was the last time?" He goes, "Tonight." I said, "Okay, fine."
Oh God.
I had a lot of those gigs over the years.
My
I
God.
even changed my name to Joe Who, because that's what. What's your name, Joe? Joe Who? That's me. Yeah.
That's funny, man. Well, uh, you know, um, in this day and age, it's easy to put stuff up online. In fact, you might even have an all music thing. I'm gonna go look allmusic uh, .org, and the thing is, you can add to it yourself, and I mean, it's not really hard. Let's see if you're in here, Joe Gaeta. Let's see. Well, there is a Joe Gaeta. Let's see. Yeah, it's you. You have. I'll show you what it looks like. It's really easy. Allmusic.com, and here's you. Here's your credits, your discography, songs. Oh, look at all your songs. Okay. Oh, we ought to play the one I sang.
Yeah, that was those lyrics were just beautiful that you wrote.
Yeah, and then so credits, songs, and discography. So you can just add to it. It's really easy. And
Really?
so anything you can think of, because it's kind of cool. I mean, I know I got your bio, but and which had a little bit more information than I could find online. But yeah, um,
Yeah, I hadn't done that bio like 15 years ago. I hadn't done anything. I never do it. I
yeah,
never,
and man, you've played with a lot of people and stuff, you know. I don't know if I can play it from here. Let's see.
see, yeah, that was a great. I love that session you did.
Yeah, that was really nice. Let's see if I can play Song for Autumn. Hmm. Okay, I don't know if I can listen now. Can I? Can I listen now? Okay, let's see. Song for Autumn. Song for. I probably have it in my iTunes, but song Old Blind Dogs. That was not it.
There it is, Song for Autumn. Oh no, Old Blind Dogs.
Song for Autumn. Let's see if it goes along with your name. There it is. Look at
There
that.
it is. I love Jengus's playing too.
It's beautiful. This was a very pretty record. Oh, she's a sweet girl. In her eyes, I'm the hero. I can do no wrong. She sees the best in me and in you. She sees the best too. Sweet girl, always has a smile for those around her. They know she will be the kind of girl sweet as she can be. She lifts up her head, her hand opens wide, joy on her face. You will see the whole world there, and you realize how much she offers to your life. Oh, she's a sweet girl, always has a story where she becomes a damsel in distress, who's saved by me, the hero of Yes, she's a sweet girl, always has a story where she becomes the damsel in distress, who's saved by me, the hero of now, who's saved by me, the hero of now, who's saved by me, the hero of now.
There you go.
Cool, man.
It was a nice version. Yeah, she had a tough life, my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Very sweet. Yeah. Um, you only had one child?
No, well, I have had two. One I adopted, my uh, daughter Amber. I have two grandkids now
Oh.
in their 20s.
My oldest is turning 11. It's wild. 11. Wow.
11. Wow.
Yeah, 11. It's hard to imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, those were the days. Huh?
Yeah, man. Um, so yeah, and then, like you used to have your playing sessions. What did you do? Did you do those for like 20 years at your house?
Oh, yeah, I still do them. Still come over once, if we can get everybody scheduled together. Yeah.
Yeah. But you used to do it every week when Gene was around, right?
Yeah, yeah. We did it. Yeah, we tried to do it at least once a week.
Yeah.
I had a big band in here once. I had like 9, 10 guys in here. Vince Wallace came down from San Francisco
Oh my God.
from the Genes, and so we had 5 horns and
Oh,
4
gee.
rhythm.
Oh my God. That's funny.
I know it was. I even taped all. I got tapes of all that stuff too.
Your neighbors are so friggin' tolerant.
I've been here 40 years. I've never had a complaint.
That's
Because it's not rock and roll. It's not obtrusive music. You can,
yeah.
you know. So I still do it. And, we're rehearsing for this. We're gonna do this album with this viola player, so we're gonna rehearse for that
With Jimbo.
with Jimbo Ross,
Jimbo Ross.
affirmation guy. I met him at the Comeback Inn back in the 70s.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Comeback Inn was a real hang, a great venue in Venice.
Yeah. Diane Reeves is on our first album,
She
the affirmation album. She sang there. She was there every weekend. We were
Joey
there.
Heredia and
We were ready.
Child.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the place. We used to call it the Scumbag Inn. And then we go down to Brandelli's Brig to drink.
Oh, yeah, the Comeback Inn, man. It was the place.
Yeah, everybody was playing there.
Yeah,
The trumpet player had the blues. What's his name?
Bruce Fowler or something, or
Yeah, the Fowler brothers were there. Yeah,
Monsieur Santos used to play there all the time.
yeah.
Yeah,
It was just a great hang,
yeah, it was really
and it
good.
was a tiny little room.
Yeah, very. The outside, Monsieur played in the outside a few times, but
Yeah,
yeah, it was a small room, and
yeah,
it was past the bucket
yeah.
money.
All they had was beer. But
Oh,
yeah, it was there we played a long time there.
yeah.
Yeah, that's where we met all those people. Yeah.
Are
And
you?
then after that, then I started in the 90s. I started going down to Leimert Park.
Oh, to
That's
the
what I was playing with Billy Higgins down there. He had opened up his little club.
world stage. Yeah,
Yeah, we played at Fifth Street Dick's. Remember
I do remember that.
that? At midnight to 6, we played.
See, that was the cool period, man. And
Everybody
I
came
guess
in.
we were young
2 in the
enough to.
morning. But Milt Jackson walked in one night, 2 in the morning. Hey, I'm here. Let's play. It was like,
Oh my God.
because they don't, for some, a lot of people would come down to see Billy after their gigs
Yeah.
down at his thing. So we played there for what, 2 years, maybe.
Wow.
There was a club next door called the Elephant Walk.
Yeah. Did you play with Eddie Olivieri too?
Yeah, sure. Joey Heredia and all those guys. Yeah. I haven't been down there in years.
Have you seen where the world stage moved across the street?
Yeah, I heard it. I haven't seen it, but I heard that it moved.
It's nice.
Is it?
Oh yeah, the room is much bigger and there's a real like doable stage and
Well,
yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, I used to go there. We were there every Friday and Saturday with the Dan Bagasal and John James and remember Don Felix,
Yeah.
bass player. He was incredible.
Yeah.
We had a really nice band. Played all this, the Horace Silver and Lee Morgan stuff. It was burning. I got tapes of all these. We did actually tried to record once on Positone, this label that I was working with. We did record, but it never got released. But I have copies of everything. It's something great.
Really?
Of course, everything was on cassette tape.
Yeah, you could actually you don't have
Oh,
to print up 1,000 of them, but you could
yeah.
move it over to something that you could put online. It's a really easy way that like some of the people like Brad Dutz, they just put it on Bandcamp. They make it digital and they put it on Bandcamp, and then people can buy it or they don't have to buy it. They pay what they want, and and you get a lot of money as the artist from
Oh, yeah.
that. And it's kind
Well,
of
the sound quality in these things, though, are not really good because I had taken them from a cassette tape that would transfer them to a Bluetooth. I mean, a thumb drive, and then put that in the computer, so I wouldn't have to use cassette tape to listen to them.
Right.
But the tapes were 30 years old.
Yeah.
So there was glitches and terrible sound. Sounds were so. I
Yeah.
don't know. We really put stuff up like that.
Well, if you ever really want to, you can actually bring it to a good engineer and they can take care of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Dan Bagasal died on our gig. We were playing a New Year's Eve gig, which was at the time was called Rocco's. Now it's what, Vibrato, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
And we were packing up, and the poor guy had a heart attack on the stage.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was the end of the band too at that point. We played up there a lot in the Vibrato when it turned to Vibrato too, I think.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, he was a great trumpet player.
Huh.
He had a band with Dale Fieldler for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And Dan, yeah, he died on the gig.
That's too bad. Yeah.
And then right after that, Don Felix died.
Oh, wow.
Like 2 years later, I think he was part of the band too. And then of course Gene's gone too.
Yeah. Gene,
And,
great drummer. Remember Harold Bennett, my old
oh
boyfriend?
sure, yeah.
So he was on a gig. He was on a jam session in Burbank, and a drummer from the East Coast was sitting in, and Harold counted My Romance off really fast. And while the drummer was soloing, he looked at Harold kind of funny. And Harold thought, something's wrong. I should just take over the solo. So he took over the solo, and the other band members were like, what the fuck is going on? And the guy had a heart attack and died. And for 2 weeks, Harold was like wandering around the house depressed because he felt like he killed the guy. And until somebody said, you allowed him to go to God. It's a good thing. And so then he felt better. But
Well, a friend of mine died just like that, Jerry Panzica, at
really?
Mr. B's.
Oh,
Karen Hernandez was playing.
yeah.
And she turned around to him. She said, "Take a solo, Jerry." And he started his solo and he died right in the middle of his solo.
Was he a drummer?
Yeah.
Or was he from New York?
Yeah, he was from Buffalo. He
Well, that
came
was
out of
probably the same guy.
it might have been
I think so,
Mr.
actually, because it
B's.
was at Mr. B's, and
Yeah, that was him.
Harold used to play with Karen all the time.
Yeah, that was him, Jerry Panzica. We
Oh,
grew up together, went to high school together.
well, Harold thought it was his fault because he counted
No,
up
it wasn't. Jerry was
the
he had a lot
song
of problems.
fast.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that. Yeah, Karen, she's every time I run into her, she said, "Remember that guy who died?" He was a great drummer. He used to practice um, a sub for Elvis Presley's band. He'd do the rehearsals,
Oh,
and also for Buddy Rich and stuff.
really?
He would do rehearsals for them, and then Buddy would come in. He's a really good drummer. I remember we were sitting at your gig. Remember the gig in the club? What was it called? Remember the jam session you had for years?
You mean Sportsman's Lodge?
Yeah, the Sportsman's. We're
Yeah.
sitting, me and Jerry, sitting at the table at the bar, and this guy comes up and says, "You're Jerry. I heard your name from somebody. I need you to rehearse for this band. Can you do it?" Jerry says, "Yeah." So the guy writes out a rhythm pattern on a piece of paper. He said, "Play this," and Jerry went, "It's all right. I'll see you tomorrow." I'll never forget that. We're sitting watching you sing. And this, I don't know who he was, but it was like,
That was the best jam session. Everybody used to come there, players.
yeah, everybody.
Freddie Hubbard lived around the corner. He would come in, and that was a great session. I'm so glad that happened. You know,
Yeah, it's too bad it ended like it did.
it is. And today the sessions aren't the same. Like when I when I have a jam session, it's all singers. It's like I don't
They have a
want all
sportsman
singers.
lodge in Buffalo. They have a sportsman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that holds jam sessions every week.
That's funny.
I know.
That's funny.
Yeah, well, we had a good time back then. Playing a lot.
I know. It was really cool. Yeah. Yeah, nowadays, now I'm trying to whip up some business for Kulak's Woodshed, which is really a cool scene, but it's just a unique place. It's not a gig where you just show up and you're not offered money, but then you get, whatever the door or half the door or whatever. It's not like that. You actually put the money out first to get a really good video, and then you can collect the cover and break even or make a little more. So it's an odd, it's unusual, but the gig itself is really nice. The room is small and cozy, and the video that you get is outrageously good with great sound. So it's an interesting spot, and jazz people just didn't really use it, for years,
Oh,
because it's been there 23 years. Did you
really?
ever play there?
I don't think I did. What's it called?
Kulak's Woodshed.
No, I don't think I
It
did.
it was mostly geared for singer-songwriters and acoustic rock and stuff. It's like around Laurel Canyon and Magnolia.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
really you go in and it's like you walked into a secondhand shop. I mean, it's like very unusual, very homey, and you can check out live streams on their from their website or Facebook page. But yeah, the sound is great. So
Check it out.
yeah, it's kind
At
of
my age, checking out means it's time for a nap.
I've been doing that a lot lately.
Hang
Yeah, my friend is going through like a little bit of cancer stuff, right? And let's see, he's probably 75, and and so I'm 69, and I just got the knee surgery. So we were
Yeah, right.
comparing how tired we were, and he said, I don't really like to lie down because if I lie down too much, I really don't want to get up.
I know.
So it's like, yeah, man, it is what it is, I mean, I don't know. I keep thinking after my knee gets really, healthy again, then, maybe I can feel better, or I don't know how to get like more
No, it's
physically active.
yeah. Well, we go out for a walk every day. We
You
do
do.
a couple miles
Oh,
because we got the pier and the beach and Venice Boardwalk.
that's so healthy for you.
So we go down to Venice a lot and walk and look at all the idiots on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
Still playing, the guys out there doing their, you know. I used to play on the Venice Boardwalk back in the '80s, and back then you actually made money. People were actually, and there were actually good players,
Yeah.
and same thing with that old Third Street Promenade thing. It used to make $100 in a day, just playing on the street,
Yeah.
but it was good. Now everything is just blues, kind of, guys are, I know two chords, I'm gonna stand in front of this restaurant and play.
For too long.
Yeah, but years ago that was a thing that people did actually. I
Remember,
mean,
what's his name? The trumpet player? He used to be there. Um,
it's
the great trumpet player, singer.
Sale Sale Marquez.
No, no. The singer trumpet player who did TV shows too, and he did the Murph Brothers.
Oh, Jack.
Yeah, Jack Sheldon. Remember when he used to play there?
Yeah, yeah.
He would
Jack.
just open his trumpet case and he'd be playing. I mean, it was Jack Sheldon.
I know.
You
Great,
know.
funny guy. I used to go to Jack's and watch him.
Thanks, Kath. Yeah. Hey, Kathy Carol Crowther is here.
Oh, Cathy. We went
Hi.
to, we went to Russia together.
Really?
Yeah. She did an animation. I played some music for it. And it was in a film festival.
Oh my God.
And we went to Russia, Moscow, and Ukraine. I think it was 94, 95, right after they had changed over.
Oh,
We spent a couple of weeks up there. It was fun. It was a trip.
wow.
Took the Orient Express bill.
God. She
She's
and
a great animator. She's a
I
very
didn't,
talented lady.
I don't think I really even knew that, Kath. Yeah, Ukraine. She said, yeah. Huh. Wow.
Yeah, she did one of my business cards, a drawing of me. I used it for years and years and years. She lives across the street over here, not far.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
I run into her every so often.
oh, cool. Yeah, people always said we looked like sisters.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Something similar about the way we smile or our eyebrows or some shit like that. You play with Armando too, right?
Yeah, Copian. Yeah, he would come up. I had this gig up in Westlake, in Westlake Village, and he did a lot of those. He
Oh,
lives around
cool.
the corner, so I used to pick him up from the gig,
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love Miranda. He's a great guy.
Yeah. He just called me and I haven't returned the call because I've been busy and then my knee, and so many.
Yeah, yeah.
But he called me about because he bought a music stand that I had that he really liked, but he couldn't quite figure out the whole putting together thing. So I have to call him. I'm sure he's figured it out by now.
Yeah.
um, yeah. So what what are you doing these days?
Not much, really. I've got this thing with Elliot Kane, a trumpet player. We do
Yeah.
one Saturday night down in Long Beach. It's a trio gig with usually Bill Markus, usually, but different bass players, depending on. It's a nice gig, though.
Yeah.
Just the trio in this small room, get
Mhm.
great tips. The tips pay more than the gig, actually.
Is it a restaurant?
It's a bar with,
Yeah.
with finger foods and stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's in a weird neighborhood, the Wrigley Village down there in Long Beach. But we've been there a couple of years
Oh,
now. And, he's getting away pretty cheap, actually. But like I said, the tip money makes up for the difference.
yeah.
So he ended up
Weren't
making
you
a little
out
bit.
in West Lake Village?
West, yeah, I was up there for about 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I brought a lot of people up there. Paul Krybeck and Kendall Kay and Armando and just Lee Spath. I like Lee's playing.
I do too.
And we did. Yeah, I had that gig for. Problem with that gig was the money was fun. They wouldn't pay me. I'd have to chase them in the parking lot, or I'd get the check 3 days later if I got it at all.
Oh God.
It was like it was just not. But I couldn't give up the gig because
It
I
was a
needed
gig.
to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though it was from Santa Monica to Westlake Village on a Friday night to be there at 6 o'clock or something.
God.
I leave at 2 a.m. But we did it. And then when the pandemic came, that was the end of it.
Yeah.
But it was a fun gig. I played every West tune I ever knew. We played all kinds of great stuff. They didn't care what we played.
That's always nice, right?
Yeah, but there was no stage. We were set up right by the front door. So
Oh.
sometimes people would jump over my amplifier to get in. It was a
Oh my
weird
God.
setup. Really tiny, stuck us in this little corner.
Oh God.
But
Do you ever play at the place on Venice that Diane played a bunch?
which place?
Is it on
Dan?
Venice? No, it's not on Venice. It's on whatever that street is that
Oh,
goes.
the Trip.
Yeah. Do you ever play at the Trip?
I haven't been there since. Well, we did some affirmation stuff there,
Oh,
and I did some stuff with Diane. But other than that, I haven't been. I don't know those people at all.
so Affirmation was like a band that had a long life, right?
Yeah, it's still going actually. When he can, it's a big band to book, and it's all that fusion stuff,
Yeah.
which I don't play that much anymore.
Right. That was
So
like, what
it's a
was it?
real challenge.
70s, the late 70s or early 80s or something?
Early 80s, 85, 86 maybe. We did 2 albums. Great players. Uh, Tom Fowler playing bass, and Dave Krieger and Ron Wagner playing drums, and Jimbo and viola. and everything was fusion. So it was odd time meters. I wrote a song in 15/16,
Oh.
which really is just five. Think about it. I want to make it look fancy.
Right.
But yeah, we had that band. It was a pretty good band. It was tight, but never went anywhere. He still promotes it. We do. The last gig we had was at the Write-Off Room before the pandemic.
Yeah. Which is opening soon again.
Yeah, that's what I heard. They're opening soon again,
Yeah.
so we might go back there.
I think they're, from the looks of it, they're not like before they were paying every band, but I
Yeah.
think now they're, it's more like a door thing, like you
Oh,
create your
really?
own cover. I
Yeah.
think so.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, but they're having big band night every Monday,
Oh, are
starting
they?
starting at the end of
Where are
March.
they? Where are they? At the same place?
No, they used to, remember in Studio City there was
Right.
what was it called with the mustache? The um, it was a gay club with and a guy like a kind of a caricature of a guy with a top hat and a big
Oh,
mustache
I don't remember that.
near where the sound room used to be.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of a single building, and parking is horrible around there now. But they have people to park your car and stuff. So anyway, that's what's happening. It should be really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like. And
Yeah, me too. I'd like to
yeah,
check it out. But
oil
not
can
much for
Harry.
promoting myself.
It's oil can Harry.
Oil can area.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, well, let's see. Anything else you want to mention? It's
I
a
could
little
use some
under.
money if you can.
You could use some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if somebody wants to hire him and, because
Right.
he loves to play too, so you might as well just hire him, have him come over and play. Oh, I will tell you though, he is an excellent cook.
I do cook.
So, you know what? So I have an idea, which I haven't put into effect, but I always wanted to start like have dinner with a musician, and so have a musician who can cook for you and tell stories and play music in the background. So you could be one of my
I
musicians who
could do
does that. Yeah.
that.
All right. Well, just for people's information, tomorrow is I'm having a young pianist who's kind of up and coming, Ben Rosenblum, and I had booked him years ago at the bar Fedora that I was booking downtown. And then Chris Bailey is Wednesday. He's not really a jazz drummer. He's a little more pop, but he's played with a lot of people, including Madonna and people like that. He's very friendly. He's English. And
Oh,
then I'll have some, my my oh yeah, this week I'm having Igor Kogan on Thursday live also. Um, he's a big band leader, composer. He lives in LA. His music is really good. So I'm actually having him on Thursday, which is unusual for me. And then I'm going to have some archives the rest of the week. Tim Horner, Kay Akagi, and Lorena Fontana. And then if you're in town here, tomorrow night, I have my friend from Australia here who's an excellent singer and teacher. And she's doing a workshop for any vocal people who want to come to that. Contact me. And then Thursday night, you might want to come check out Kulak's actually, because Tom Rizzo has a group there. And it's no cover, 8 to 10. He's taking full advantage of, like a video, and they also have Pro Tools running. So it's 8 to 10. And the other thing that's happening this week is Sunday. I don't know if you heard about this, but 3 weekends, the Union has been having a jazz festival.
oh, really?
Yeah, it's free and it like runs from something like 12 to 4 or 5 with all different kinds of people. And so Sunday the 23rd, my No Net group is playing, which me and John Leftwich created this No Net that It's good music. It's like two Schofield tunes, two Monk tunes, Pat Metheny songs, some originals, a few standards. And it's interesting because we have mandolin and cello, and then two horns and guitar, piano, bass, drums. So it's pretty cool. We're on it. I think we're on it. I forget. I forget when we're on. But anyway, we're in there, and you'd probably want to see the whole festival anyway because it's five groups, I think. And then at night, Sunday night, I just have to tell people this at Kulak's. I have to promote this at Kulak's. This really good flutist named Ellen Burr is leading. We created a thing called Creative Night, which she's no stranger to at all. She's improvisational. So we're inviting poets. Let's see. Poets, actors, dancers, singers, musicians to all come together and create together. You might be interested in doing it even. So Sunday, April 23rd, 8 to 10. And we're going to do this once or twice a month. And I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm kind of looking forward to it.
I can't make this one. I'm going to San Francisco on Sunday,
Oh, okay.
but the next one I definitely like to check out.
Sounds
Just
fun, doesn't it?
text me the info.
Yeah.
You get it.
She's really, really good. Yeah, and she reads well, and she does everything well, but she's especially good at improvisation too.
That's cool.
And yeah, so she'll kind of be the leader, and then I think it's going to be really fun.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
So that's what's happening this week, man.
Cool.
Thanks, Joey.
Thank you. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Yeah, we usually have long conversations on the phone, but this
Yeah.
kind of like that.
Yeah.
All right, everybody,
Yeah.
have a good day. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Love you.